Hi, welcome to A2Z Knowledge.com. So today we are going to discuss about what is data replication. So we have a lot of data technologies, including database, data warehouse, or ETL, and we have many. Even in storage, we have RDBMS, NoSQLs, and even in processing, you have traditional technologies like ETL, Ab initio, or in modern technologies like Hadoop, Spark. Means in big data. So if you go for any of these data technologies, and all these data technologies are cluster computing. That means your data is not get stored in one device, right? So for example, you use a lot of applications nowadays. You use Facebook, Gmail, LinkedIn. So all these application in backend, the data are stored in a distributed systems, and then your processing happens on a parallel on top of those distributed systems. So that means there is an application, for example, okay, FB, Facebook. So I'm sending a request. So internally, so that data you are doing a write, and that write operation will be get distributed in multiple nodes or machine, right? So you have like a lot of we have a lot of types of distributed cluster. Like you have mainly you have two types, master slave and peer to peer, but I have a separate video for that. But mostly most of the processing and storage technology uses master slave architecture. So this is a master and this is a slave, or traditionally we used to call it as a client server architecture, right? Same way. Now you are doing a write operation. Just imagine the data volume is 1 GB, and this 1 GB data will be get stored in multiple nodes. And you can ask me, you said data replication and you are teaching something else. Yeah, I'm coming to the point. So here this 1 GB data will be get stored across these nodes. Okay, so for example, how this will be get stored, for example, it will be splitted into small pieces. The 1 GB data is not going to store as a one whole file in a one single machine. Okay, for example, this 1 GB will be divided into small files, like 200 MB of data out of this 1 GB will be get stored here, and 100 GB, sorry, 100 MB will be stored here, maybe 300 here, 50 here, and etc. And may or may not this next node will have the data. It's may or may not. It's not guaranteed that the data has to be get distributed to all the nodes eventually. So this is how your data will be get stored. Now we can give a name for this. So I call it as B0, C0, D0, A0. Now we have these data. So when you do a read operation, so all these B0, C0, D0, and A0 will be get consolidated, and then you will get the data, right? So your 1 GB data, what you have uploaded, is distributed across nodes with five uh, pieces of data. Now imagine that since it's a distributed environment, there is a chances of a particular nodes can go down. That means the 200 MB of data out of 1 GB is lost, even though you have the balance like 450 MB of data, but still there is a data loss, right? A piece of data was missing from your 1 GB, and that is not acceptable, right? So whenever you do a read operation, so the piece of data is lost. Now how to get the data back, or what is the precautions that I can take to safeguard these kind of data, and how to avoid these kind of data loss? And there comes the topic replications. Replication means it's simply, I can say it as a copy, creating copies for the data, a backup. Okay, that means now you have only one means, okay, so replica means it's copies. You can ask me how many copies needs to be get created. So the number is something I can configure, or the technology will take care. If you use any technologies like Oracle, or even databases, or even Hadoop, Spark, or modern NoSQL database, and all these technologies, data technologies, there is a concept of replica, and there is a default value for it. For example, there is a technology called A. In this technology, whenever I write the data, two copies of the data will be get created, and if the technology permits, you can able to change the value. So default is 2. There will be a configuration file in which you can change the number of replicas. Okay, so now imagine I'm using a technology in which my replica is 3, configured as 3. That means for every piece of this block will have two more copies, so totally 3. So, and one more important thing, same copies of data will not be get stored in same node, and that is waste, right? For example, so two copies of B0 get stored in the same machine. If this machine goes down, both the copy is gone, right? So replicas algorithms won't work in that way. So a B0 will be here, a B0 will be here, maybe C0 is here, C0, C0, and there is one more A0, right? A0, and yes, we can go here, A0. Okay, so that means if you see here, okay, so this is extra. Yeah. So you have 3B0 and 3C0, 3D0, 3A0. So for example, if this node goes down, so B0 and C0 is gone, but you have two more copies of B0 and C0 from which you can retrieve the data. That is something your framework will take care. You don't want to worry about it, but there is no data loss for you. So that means the replications is nothing but creating copies of the data. And there is one small difference between replica and copy. So here we say three replica. That means the actual data, the actual B0 plus two copies of B0. So total is three replica. It's not right three copies, but in general, in verbal, in companies, in projects, we used to say it as a three copies, but replica and copies are different. Okay, so the actual data plus two copies is three replica. Okay, when I say four replica, that means actual plus three copies equal to four replica. Okay, so just you, since you are watching this video, I just wanted to give you the exact terms, but still in the real time we use replica and copies, like we don't see much difference, and we don't be get confused as well, so we don't be get confused. So but still, if you use the correct terms, it will be good. And then you can ask me another sorry, you can ask me another question. So in what you are coming to say is, so I want to store 1 GB data, but when it goes to the cluster, now it's getting increased as 3 GB. And what about the cost of the hard disk? Okay, so if you are asking this question, or if you are getting this in your mind, now tell me the answer, or give me the solution for the problem. I'm loading a data 1 GB, but I'm not having replica. Suddenly, if the data is gone, now you give me some solution how to retrieve that information, right? So that is most dangerous. So what I will be going to give answer for my clients? It's a very important data. It has been lost, and the cost what you're going to pay for it is more compared to the replica what you store. Okay, so if you go for in different you see, in all the data technologies there is a concept of replica. Some technologies will have the concept of creating replica within the technology itself, and in some technology the replica concept won't be there. You have to integrate some third party replica generation technology to that. For example, in earlier days, like in databases like rdbms databases doesn't have a replication, so people invented a new technology to do that, and they have integrated it. But if you take technologies in modern, especially in big data, like Oracle, I mean, sorry, like Hadoop or Spark, the technology itself has the concept of replica, means the software itself will take care of creating copies of the data. So the only thing what I have to do is just add a hard disk to it. If the hard disk is full, I have to add a more hard disk. But in earlier stages, in some traditional technology, so the both software and hardware of doing this replication won't be there. So there is a technology, a traditional old technology, which is getting stored, it's storing the data with one copy, but later I have to search for some technology which is doing the concept of replica, and then I have to integrate it. But modern technology does the software part. The technology itself take care of creating replica, store it in multiple nodes. All what I need to do is adding in hard disk. So the agenda video is to explain what is data replica. I'm not explaining this specific to the technology like Hadoop, Spark, Oracle or something like that, but underlying definition what I have given is common across all these. So thanks for watching a2zknowledge.com, and more deep into distributed replica concept and all, I'm going to explain in my next videos. So stay in touch with us, and we provide videos in a lot of technologies, not only data and theory kind of stuff. We do have practical stuff as well. We provide videos in two languages, English and Tamil, and I have given my LinkedIn URL and Instagram URL in the description box. If you want to contact me, you can contact me via that. So thanks for watching a2zknowledge.com.